Hey everyone, it's Gary from Soccer Pro, and today I have Alex Green with us from Challenger Sports. Today we're going to be talking about coaching development. So welcome, Alex. I'm glad to have you here. How about if you tell our audience a little bit about your background and your playing history and what you're doing now for soccer in the U.S.?
Perfect, Gary. Absolute pleasure as well. Well, guys, my name's Alex Green. Hello to everyone out there. I am the Vice President of Challenger Sports. I work to recruit and find coaches across the country. A little bit about my background. Obviously, originally from Scotland, so I apologise right now if no one understands a word that I'm saying. Just keep nodding your head, just what you're doing, Gary. Keep nodding your head and say yes, yes, yes. It sounds good.
Yep.
People often say I sound like a really nice guy. No clue what I'm on about, but I'm a nice guy. I said born and bred in Scotland, came across here in the year 2000, spent 4 or 5 years bouncing back and forth, going between each country, coaching here in the US, coaching in the UK. Eventually, my mum said to me, pick a country, son, and just stay in there. I picked the wonderful place of Rhode Island, moved here and haven't looked back since. Some of the areas that we cover at Challenger, we have our summer camps, we have our academy, where we're working with teams and players year round. We have our uniforms, we have our tournaments, we have a virtual division, and we have a soccer tour division. Not many tours running right now due to the pandemic, but we're hoping 2021 is going to be a real big kickback. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell as such. Playing wise, I'll cut to the chase. I'm a much better coach than I am a player. That's always to say, those who teach don't do. So we'll follow that model, and that's why I'm sitting in a chair directing people rather than out in the field coaching. But I do still coach. I have a U16, U18, a U20 team that I work with. And I have my daughter's little Tiny Tykes team, so they're 4 and 5 years old, which I absolutely love. You know, I get excited working with the younger kids just the same as I get with the older kids. Sometimes they're a little bit unruly, but, you know, the older kids get it eventually, and the younger kids are absolute angels.
Well, you bring up a good point about 2021 being a snapback year. When you look at some of the bigger cities like New York, Chicago, in the last week or so, they've just opened up dining. They've opened up like health type products as far as massages, salons, all those things have been opened up. So it looks like 2021 is going to be a good soccer year. Now, are you recruiting coaches for this spring? Are you doing that type of activity for the spring, summer of 2021?
Yeah, that's it exactly, Gary. So right now we're looking at both staff of the summer. Our summer numbers usually increase. At our peak as a camp company, we had 118,000 kids. That dwindled and changed over the years due to various other camp programs opening up, so on and so forth. That's why we diversed into other areas. But in regards to our coaching, yeah, we're looking at staff to start the spring. What I found so far is normally your warmer state climates would kick off, like your Californias, your Texas. They usually start in January, Feb. Just about everywhere's had a little bit of a bump back due to obviously, you know, the COVID from last year. But, you know, hey, I believe things are going to really kick on this year, because there's only so much longer you can be locked up, and there's going to be new energy and vigor for it. So, yeah, my goal right now, I'm speaking to run about 45 potential staff each day, seeing if they'd be a good fit, see where I can place them. I have calls with each of my offices across the country. We pretty much cover every single state. I speak to that office, find out what staff they need, when they need them, and I try and find the rabbits out of the hat and get them placed.
So what type of coaches are you really looking for? If you were to pick your perfect coach for Challenger Sports, what tends to hit your sweet spot?
Sweet spot, a lot of people say, you know, qualifications are very important, and a lot of people will say background and experience, which again is important, but the most important part is, are you a good person? Are you in it for the right reasons? Are you a good person? Do you have the right personality and the right dynamic for it? I wouldn't say there's a perfect coach. You know, some people excel more towards working with older players. Some prefer working with younger players. A perfect coach would be someone who can do both. But as you say, sometimes you're a jack of all trades, master of none. But my goal and my fit, I believe anyone starting in soccer as a coach, there'll be a place for you, you know, and you can build up. I mean, I look back to when I first started as a coach, looking at me then to where I am now, I'm much better. And that comes with time and experience.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, how many times do you self-reflect and look back and go like, yeah, I need to modify the way I'm doing that. And then you're always progressing and taking your craft higher and higher. But bouncing back to the coaching type of, I don't want to say criteria, but the type of coaches you're looking for and the programs you're running. When you're running these camps, what are you emphasizing at these camps for the kids, so the coaches know that, hey, I'm a good fit for this or not, you know, whether it's a skills coach, a foot skills coach, a team coach, a strategy coach, etc.
Yeah, so in that part there, as I said, you know, we focus a lot on the younger age groups in terms of, you know, the really young age groups. It's all about having fun, keep them excited, keep them engaged, making sure they're learning the game through the games, you know. So it could be everyone knows sharks and minnows, right? So it's not really a shark and minnow you're going against. It's actually a defender, and you break it down. But if you call it a defender, the kid's going to be that's boring. So it becomes a shark, it becomes a minnow. How can you entertain them through that? As they then progress, it's really about how, as you go through it, you keep with the skills, but you then kind of transfer and transgress into actually more about actually developing the player and where they're going to go with that. So it becomes less fun, it becomes more kind of technical, and that's really the kind of main part there. So where they're going to be a good fit, and on the camps, you know, having a good impression, make sure the kids enjoy it, working on the foot skills, how many touches can they get? You know, they always say you need at least 5,000 touches to remember a skill. So how can we implement that? And how can we do it in a fun, energetic way to keep the kids coming back for more and keep the coaches coming back as well?
Right, right. Now, are these going to be full-time coaching positions, or are these going to be more of a come in for the camp, you know, get an extra bump in your salary for the year and then go back to what you're doing as a coach?
So it varies, Gary. So some of the coaches will work year-round in coaching, some will be seasonal. You know, we have some guys that will come in, they'll do just the summer period. Some will come in, they'll work for us during the spring, the summer, and the fall, and occasionally the winter. You know, you mentioned obviously Illinois is pretty cold up there right now. Mm-hmm. There's not a ton of soccer unless it's indoors. Some coaches are year-round. You know, as I said, some are seasonal. And yeah, it really caters to those needs, really depending on what the coach is looking for. A lot of coaches, which I always find, they'll come in and go right off the bat, hey, listen, I want to work with the best team. I want a full-time gig. I want a full-time role. You got to build up to it. You know, there's not many soccer clubs and organizations that say, hey, never met you before, we'll give you a full-time job right off the bat and you can coach soccer year-round. Doesn't happen. You know, it takes that time to build up. It takes that time to build that trust. And it's about patience and like anything else, learning your craft and getting good at it.
Yeah, absolutely. How do people go through the process? If they want to get involved and they're interested in hooking up with you guys, how do they go through the process of getting the first contact, maybe an interview or whatever it is you do with the coaches?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's various ways we do it. So obviously we have an office here and we have one in the UK. We recruit a lot of staff in the UK. If this goes out to anyone in the UK, you can go to challengersports.com. You get to the recruitment page. There's one that will say, are you in the US? Are you in the UK? Pretty easy. If you're in the UK, you click that one, you go through that process. Or if you're in Europe, you click that process. If you click the other one, and then what happens each week is they fill in the application. I'll have a look at it. I'll then reach out to them and say, hey, listen, would you like to schedule a tentative interview? You know, a little chat, see what they are, see what they're about. If I think they'll be a good fit for a region, I'll then pass them on to that region. They'll then do a further analysis on them, whether they be a good fit, good part of the role. Typically, then we'd have them come out and do a guest coaching session. So, you know, they would do a background check, they come out, they do like a little 10, 15 minutes, see if they're applicable, see what age they're looking to coach, see if that's going to work for them. Then from there, we then progress them up to coaching with us. So it's a slow process, but, you know, it does the right thing. It gets people where they need to be.
And are these camps all in the U.S.? I mean, you're talking about the UK and the U.S. for recruiting coaches, but are all the camps in the U.S.?
So, yeah, we have camps in both the US and Canada. That's another area there. We did have camps in other areas of the world. We've kind of curtailed that, again, due to COVID, due to different points there. So we kind of laid back. So we have our camps in the US and in Canada. Those are the two key areas.
Yeah, it kind of looks like they're going to be coming back faster than Europe is. Seems like Europe is tightening down a little harder than we are.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of a tough one right now. I have obviously still family back in Scotland. I know they have got tougher restrictions, and really for there, it's the UK is such a small part there. It's, you know, everyone's following the same road. Whereas over here in the US, depends where you go to. You know, if you go to certain parts of the country, there is no COVID. Everything's just charging on as usual.
Depends my daughter's in college in Texas. So when she comes back home from Texas to Illinois, she's like, oh, God, I forgot it's all shut down around here. But even in Illinois, it's opening up. So if we bounce back to the first part of the conversation, things are starting to open up. I think we were going to see a strong 2021 spring season. I'm expecting that the leagues are going to be open, the kids will be playing, and it's going to be full speed ahead on soccer. If schools are opening, if bars are opening, if restaurants are opening, if beauty salons are opening, I don't know how they would stop these kids from playing. And I think we need to be ready. I mean, I think there's opportunity there now. So again, I'm going to bounce back to the UK aspect though. If somebody is over in the UK and they say, hey, I'm interested in coming over, that's a big hike to get over here. Now, does Challenger Sport help them get here? Do they work with them as far as the the work permits and all the other things that they need to be a coach here?
Yeah, so I mean, up until like a few years ago, we had longer term visas we bring staff out on, but nowadays most of our staff in the UK, or all of our staff in the UK, come what they call a J1 summer visa. So they would come over for the summer camps, get an experience here, see if they like it. The staff that we have and that we employ year round are more local based staff that stay here. We do have some college players that will coach for us, so they might be playing college and then come across. So we have those guys there. But the guys in the UK, we have a full recruitment team, and they'll go out, they'll do presentations at colleges, they'll do it at soccer teams, so on and so forth. We'll identify those staff. And again, this is all post-COVID. Everything's changed a little bit. Sorry, pre-COVID. This is all a little bit changed now post-COVID. Well, hopefully post-COVID. Hopefully it's over at one point. So our guys will do training events there with them, make sure they're all set, take them through the visa process, go down to London or Belfast, do their visa interview, and then we get their flights, get the location sorted, and we send them over. I said usually at our peak, Gary, we had about 1,000 coaches come over from the UK. We're probably going to have about 200 now. At our peak camp-wise, I said we had 118, 120,000. That's down this year. Last year, we were expecting about 57, 60,000. Didn't happen. We did about 15,000. We were projecting about 35, 40,000 kids this year, which will be a great bounce back. And as I said, that's the important part. You know, we believe that soccer will rebound. People get back out there. Our virtual division, want everyone still indoors, still want people playing on that part, but there's only so long you can do video games for.
Yeah, and we've got kids that are coming into our training center, and we're really starting to see a big pickup in the number of kids coming in. It's funny where the parents will come in and say, hey, look, I've just got to get them doing something, right?
Yeah.
Even if they're not, let's say, hardcore soccer players, the parents will just say, look, it's been too long. I've got to get him doing something. He's got to get out of the house. He's going crazy in the house. He needs something to do. And they'll bring him into soccer labs, and they'll get him in there. And of course, you know, they're soccer players, but all I'm getting at is it's been too long. There's going to be a bounce back. I know I've been optimistic in the past and actually been wrong. I thought we'd see more in the fourth quarter than the shutdowns that we actually experienced. But I can't see this thing going any longer, and we've got to get ready for it. And there's opportunity for the coaches. Now, I actually want to go a little step further. So let's imagine we have a coach coming over from the UK, is coming over for the summer. It does your summer camps with you. Are these coaches able to then go out and connect with local clubs where they can then move into from coaching in the summer camps to coaching at these clubs and continuing on?
Yeah, so to answer that one, that was a general process for UK staff back in the day. Again, due to changes in the climate and recruiting policy and the visa structures, those guys won't have that opportunity right now to do it full term, to all the way through. We will have some staff who'll stay on for a little bit of the fall, maybe part of September, but really most of the staff that we're working with clubs, the ones we'll connect with, will be our local staff and the people over here. And just to give you an idea on that part, Gary, we probably work with maybe around about 400 or 500 clubs across the country in the fall season. And that's the exciting part as well. So as well as finding the right coach, we go to soccer clubs. We're apolitical. We don't have any agenda or any kind of clubs that we run ourselves. We go in, we speak to a soccer club and say, hey, where's your need? Where's your biggest need? You know, is it developing your parent coaches? Is it working with your travel teams? Is it working with your competitive teams? I'm a firm believer, and same as I was speaking with my coaches, is if you develop the coaches and teach them, they're going to progress on. Because what it shouldn't be, if you send your kid up for the local AYSO program, they've got Gary. Gary's absolutely fantastic. The other kid's got Alex. Alex isn't so good. He's not that fantastic. Why should you be having the same experience? If we can help Alex and Gary raise the level, then that's going to benefit them. It's going to benefit the kids. So doing that kind of part there is very, very important.
So you bring up something about the visas, though, the change in the visas. I think a lot of people aren't familiar with how that process works. Can you go a little deeper into how the visa changes have affected process? And
yeah, I mean, in two parts there. I mean, the number of visas being released and being allowed has been kind of curtailed over the last few years, which, you know, whatever reason that is, change of administration, these things happen. You know, there's certain areas that makes it kind of easier to get in. I mean, last year was very difficult due to COVID. No one can get in or out. It was very, very difficult. We actually had a tough point. We had about 150 coaches overseas over here at that point, and it was like, oh, geez, what are we going to do here? So we had to reach out to them and say, what are you going to do? Do you want to go home? Because no one knew, right? Most of them went home. And at that point there, we went into full drive. We had to get more additional local staff. And as I said, for me, it doesn't really matter if the coach comes from the UK, they come from the US, they come from Trinidad and Tobago. As long as they're a good person and they're the right fit, we'll look to get them employed and get them working with players and developing players and coaches.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to get that mixture of concepts. You get the concepts from the US, from the UK, from South America, wherever it might be. It gives you a nice blend, and you get to pick the best of all the coaching concepts.
Yeah, so it's funny you say that. I don't mean to interrupt, guys. It's actually why we changed our camp model. We used to call it the British camp. Well, we'd say in the British camp, there'll be a kid from Chicago, Illinois, and the parents were like, whoa, he's not British. Where's his accent?
Right.
So we pivoted away from that. We called it the international camp. So we have the international camp, the next level camp for higher level players. And it just made more sense. As I said, it doesn't matter where you're from. As long as you're a good person, you can coach the game, you've got a good personality, we'll find the right club, the right placement for you.
Yeah, that always was the joke on the sidelines, though, is, well, you can't be a good coach. He doesn't have an accent. How could he be a good coach? Yeah. But there are a lot of good coaches without accents.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is.
Of course, being from Milwaukee originally, everyone still thinks I'm a Canadian and have the Canadian accent, but that's a different story.
You don't say "hey" every 2 minutes, hey?
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, every once in a while I catch myself. I've been down in Illinois for 20 some years. It took me almost that long to put the L back in Milwaukee because we skip a lot of letters when you're from Milwaukee. That's how you tell if someone's from Milwaukee. They would never put the L in there. It would always just be the meh. All right. But anyhow, back to the topic at hand. So Challenger Sports, is it challengersports.com? Is that the best way to get a hold of you guys?
Yep. Challengersports.com. That's correct.
All right. So they start at challengersports.com. There'll be a US, there'll be a UK pathway, and they can start the process of getting getting an interview and a chat with you to see if it might be the right fit. When's a good time to start? I mean, it's end of January. It's cold in Chicago, but are you starting the recruiting process now?
We never stopped. That's the truth of the matter. We never stopped. We carried it all the way through. So what we typically do is, the recruitment process starts November of the previous year. And why we say November, we have our staff, we reach out to them and say, hey, you're just finishing up. Most programs don't run during the month of December due to all the holidays and even Thanksgiving, which is an amazing American holiday, by the way. I'm glad I've got introduced to that. I love Thanksgiving. So we reach out to all the coaches and say, hey, who's looking to come back? Who's want to work with their teams again, want to work the summer? We work through that process there. And then January, we start to look at new avenues. So we'll kind of put advertisements out there. We'll speak to our coaches who are returning. We'll speak to the colleges. And we kind of look through there, and then we start the kind of process. It's been a little bit different this year, Gary, from previous years, simply because most of those warmer climates were up and running in January, February, so there's a need to get them staff first. This year, most soccer states have kind of pushed back a little bit until the kind of March, April. So it's been a change. So it's probably going to be a bit more all gearing towards March, April, and from there. But in a normal year, guys will start January, February, and so on.
Yeah, I think everyone's a little excited to get back out on the pitch and get going again. All right, so you started now. You can come in from the UK, from the US, from anywhere in the world because they're now international type of camps. Local coaches as well as international coaches, and you're operating all throughout the USA and parts of Canada. So there's a lot of opportunity in a lot of different geographic areas. And of course, we're starting now. So, or if you want to get back out on the pitch as a coach, it's Alex Green from Challenger Sports. It's challengersports.com. Give him a call today. So, Alex, I really appreciate you taking time to describe what you guys are doing. It sounds exciting to get these guys an opportunity and to get these camps going again. What do you want to tell the group today as far as Challenger Sports and the upcoming year is concerned?
Get ready, get back out there, go to challengersports.com, sign your kids up for a program now. Get back out there, get on the field and get kicking again.
All right, that sounds great. All right, again, Alex, thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future and learning more about the program as the season progresses.
Sounds good, buddy. Sounds good.
All right, bye now.